The myth says the Greeks sailed to Troy to win Helen back. That it was a war of love and vengeance. It makes a wonderful story, but it has never seemed very likely. Another possible motivation for a war began to emerge from the stones of Mycenae. That motivation was greed. Archaeologists have discovered that the rulers of Mycenae had undertaken an epic task: to build mighty new walls, to transform their citadel.
There's a massive rebuilding program. A whole new section of the citadel is added, almost doubling the size of the fortified area.
To complete the work, Louise Schofield believes they would have needed great wealth. Supplies and food for an army of workers. And the latest technology to work with. Bronze.
The sophisticated, heroic palace civilization that you see spread across the mainland of Greece would have demanded huge resources. You had a palace here with your dependents, you'd have your army to feed. These civilizations here really depended on wealth.
But the problem the Mycenaeans faced was that they didn't have the natural resources that mattered. They had no tin to make bronze weapons and tools. Nor did they have gold. Their civilization was greedy for this wealth, and they had to get it somehow.
If these independent Mycenaean kingdoms were to band together to undertake an expedition like that to Troy, they're not going to be doing it for honour or for the love of a beautiful woman. They're going to be doing it because they want something. And what they're going to want over there really is access to wealth.
So the archaeological record at Mycenae does find evidence of a rich warrior culture. And it suggests a likely motive for these warriors to join battle: the search for wealth and loot. So was there something about Troy that would have attracted a people like the Mycenaeans in their quest for riches? A discovery on the seabed further down the coast from Troy hints at an answer. In 50 meters of water, a shipwreck. Archaeologist Jamal Pulak was called to investigate.
Going down there and seeing rows and rows of these copper ingots was just absolutely unbelievable. We're extremely excited, and the more we looked around, the more was available, and it was quite apparent that we were dealing with a very, very large major wreck of the Bronze Age.
There were enough metal ingots to make 11 tons of bronze.
The cargo that the ship was carrying is by far the largest assemblage of Bronze Age goods found anywhere.
On board the ship, a dazzling cargo from the late Bronze Age. Beautifully shaped gold. Ostrich eggs from Africa or Asia. Goods from all over the known world on this single ship.
This gives us a clear idea of how intricate and how far-reaching the ancient trade network is. It's much, much more sophisticated than we would have initially thought.
Pulak's discovery suggested the late Bronze Age was a time of rich trade, of great wealth being moved across the high seas. Laden with bronze and treasure, ships like this could easily have called in at Troy.
These ships were obviously sturdy enough and capable enough to be able to sail northward into the Aegean and onto Troy.
Discoveries like these beg the question, was there something special about Troy's position in these trade routes that might have attracted the attention of the Mycenaeans? Manfred Kaufmann believes that Troy was a very special trading port indeed, that it occupied a vital strategic position. It sits at the edge of the Dardanelles, a narrow channel that separates Europe and Asia. Today, it's a vital trade route. And Kaufmann believes it was important 3,000 years ago.
Now it is the straits which are so narrow here that everything you could expect of contact between Asia and Europe should have passed here. So Troy could have benefited from this special geographic situation. And I think that's why it is so big in comparison to other sites. In this area, there's no site as important as Troy.
Kaufmann believes that Troy became a wealthy city because of this strategic position at the gateway between two continents. So it seems Troy was a very desirable city, desirable to the Mycenaeans because of its wealth. But its position also made it desirable to someone else, because Troy stood at the edge of another great civilization of the day. They were called the Hittites. Their empire covered much of the territory of modern-day Turkey. The Hittites were a superpower of the late Bronze Age. They'd sacked the ancient city of Babylon and fought the mighty army of the pharaohs to a standstill. But the Hittites have also left behind clues about what really might have happened at Troy. It is all contained in a vast collection of written tablets. Trevor Bryce has studied this astonishing collection. Remarkable accounts of what was happening to cities across the Hittite Empire more than 3,000 years ago.
They have really unlocked the key to an understanding of the whole history and civilization of the Hittite world. They give us pictures of conflicts and tensions in that region, and that really provides us with an actual historical written record.
So scholars began to look for references to Troy in the texts. It appeared to be a hopeless task, because no one knew what the Hittites had called the place. Then they started to discover references to battles over an important city. Its name was Wilusha, a name very similar to another ancient Greek name for Troy, Wilios.
Many scholars believed that a country called Wilusha in Hittite texts was in fact the name of Troy.
The tablets described festering conflicts